The Overdose Talk Show is returning from the dead. It's nice to see you.
60 seconds till showtime. Enjoy.
On Mobile Bay, honey stole my heart away. Beside the sea, where she gave a loving kiss to me.
20 seconds.
She
20
said
seconds.
Goodbye, while the moon was shining high. On that dreaming, beaming, gleaming Mobile Bay.
Let's start the show. Go.
Yes, let's start the show, the Overdose Talk Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here alone tonight. My name is Vinny. I never say my name on the show. I don't know, it was a thing at the beginning. I just didn't feel like it. It feels weird. Hey, this is your host, Vinny Micko. Ugh. I never did like my name. It's kind of a clunky name. Vinny Micko. Just sounds like the name of a stupid, crazy asshole. Which I am. The last episode, I talked a little bit about how I was having some problems in the old relationship department. And it turns out that I could not have possibly understated the situation. More, I should say. Could not have understated the situation more. After the last episode, I decided to figure out what was really going on with this girlfriend of mine. Now, sometimes when you're in a long-term relationship, you might have a little break, or a breakup, kind of, or, you know. But generally, as long as nobody kind of moves on to another person or really, really wants things to end for good, you end up figuring it out. So I kind of thought we had one of those situations going on where it was like, you know, I'm going to do whatever I got to do to figure this out and blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to Tracy, people familiar with the show know Tracy, has worked on the show since the beginning and has talked on the show a whole bunch. With her, you know, I'm trying to work this thing out and trying to figure it out. And, you know, she kept saying over, and I kept thinking, there has to be, the only thing that makes sense the way you're acting is that you met someone else. And you should tell me and save me a lot of fucking dignity and time and effort and this and that. No, I haven't met, and she would let me pour my heart out. And she knew how hard I was trying to save the relationship. And, she would not just spare me the dignity of, or spare me the fucking indignity of being lied to and made a fool of. So she was seeing someone else, it turns out. After the last, episode, I got really drunk. That's the beginning to any good adventure. In my case, this was a big one. I got really fucked up, and she had told me she was going to stay at her mom's house, which just was an obvious lie. She had work in the morning. I just knew it was a lie, so I drove up to her mom's house. It's like fucking 45 minutes away. I confirmed that she wasn't there. So, you know, I decided to go to her work and wait for her to get there and drink some more. So, I don't know, I've probably had around a fifth at this point, and I'm sitting in the car, and I open another pint, drinking that, and we're talking whiskey here, of course, and finally she shows up around 9 in the morning. I get out, and I wave at her, and she comes over, and I say, look, I went to your mom's house, and she still tries to lie to me at this point. You didn't go there. I was there. You didn't. There's no way you went. She didn't believe me. I'm like, yeah, look, just tell me the fucking truth. Please stop making a fucking idiot out of me. And so she finally admits, yeah, she's been seeing someone else, for about a month. This is, to me, the end of the world at this point. I walked over to her. She has she bought a new car, really nice new car, and I just went over and just started beating the shit out of it. I shouldn't laugh, but I don't know, man. I just reached for the nearest thing that I could destroy without going to prison forever. And in that moment, yeah, I did want to punch her in the face. I really thought about it. I wanted to. It would have felt good at that time, I think. Not good. Nothing would feel good, but it just would have felt right, But I didn't. Instead, I beat the shit out of her car, and a bunch of people came running out, and she tried to yell something at me or whatever. I don't know. I just ran away and got in the car and took off. My plan at this point was to commit a little bit of suicide by cop. That was kind of what I was thinking. Now, that sounds crazy, but just to fill in people who don't know, I was pretty close to this person. I'm pretty darn close, I would say. We were together for, 5-6 years or something, on and off at first, but then pretty serious for the past few years. Really serious. And I really thought that I was going to spend my life with her. That's kind of just how I looked at things and framed things in my mind. So this was, we ran a business together. We had all these fucking ties, all this bullshit. Basically, this was my entire life kind of going up in flames. And I just snapped. I went nuts, and I didn't want to go on. And so I don't know, I made a bunch of threats over the phone and Facebook, and said that that I was going to kill myself, then I started saying I was going to kill other people, and that if the police are coming, they should know I'm armed. And the cops all get to my house, and they're knocking on the door and yelling and looking in the windows. And I was just standing around the corner, outside of the nearest window, just drinking. And I was just trying to get up the courage of all right, I got to put something in my hand and run at them and point it, and maybe they'll shoot me to death. Maybe they won't, but I could at least try. And I was trying to just work up that courage. I was sort of thinking about it, do you know when you got to jump into water that is going to be really cold? So you don't think about jumping into the water. You think about getting into the air above the water. So then at that point, you have no choice anymore. At least that's how I do it. I just talk myself into somehow just getting up into the air and then dealing with it at that point. And that's kind of what I was doing with this situation, is I just wanted to get to that point of no return. So I was trying to think myself into that mindset and just drinking. And I don't know why I didn't expect this to happen, but they just fucking bust the door down, and I was just standing there crying with a bottle of whiskey, and they just have their guns out already, and I'm just like, I don't know, and I just lay on the ground, and they fucking handcuff me and blah blah blah, take me out to the stupid car where I had to wait to get picked up by the town that I committed the crime in, and they take me and arrest me and all this shit. And then I ended up going to the psych ward. They take me to the psych ward. I guess is mandatory if you commit threaten suicide or talk about suicide or whatever. So I end up in that fucking shithole, which, by the way, that place makes no sense at all. I'm crazy as fuck, and they let me out. I just knew the things to say. They're like, do you have any thoughts about hurting yourself? No. Do you have any thoughts about hurting anyone else? Nope. I just, whatever. The place is retarded. By the way, they made me wear, get into a gown. I'm crazy. I'm not sick. Just check me for weapons and let me fucking sit here. No. You're clearly in a very distraught state and not thinking clearly. We need to remove anything left from your life that's familiar to you and lay you down on this cold cot. What happened? And I kept asking, what happens if I don't do what you say? And then we kept going through the steps until eventually the police would always be back in the scenario, and I'd go, all right, fuck you. Anyways, I don't know, man. It was pretty fucking dark and horrible. I know I'm kind of presenting it in a little bit of a lighthearted way at times, but this was the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. I ended up, bunch of friends and family came over to the house, and sat around with me for like 3 or 4 or 5 days. I don't even know how long. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. People were just doing like suicide watch and trying to distract me, and I wouldn't leave the house, and I was just drinking bottle after bottle after bottle of whiskey. Started smoking again. I'm still smoking now. I really hoped that I wouldn't get addicted again when I tried smoking again, but no, they're pretty good at that. Kind of back in with that, but that went on all week until I realized, hey, I'm supposed to go on tour. I don't really feel like paying my rent anymore. My business that I was running with Tracy is now obviously just fucking gone. I don't really have a way of making money. I'm not going to go work for some chump for fucking $12 an hour or some shit. I'm going to pack all of my stuff and everything that I love into, or throw things away, or pack it into fucking storage in other people's houses and shit. Then I'm going to take all of my things with me, and I'm going to go on tour, and then I'm not going to come back for a while. So that's pretty much what I ended up doing. My ex-girlfriend, who lives in New Orleans, who's probably just as crazy as me, goes, hey, I know this is nuts, but if you want to, you can stay with me, and, we can give things another chance between us. And I was like, you know what? That's the most batshit nuts thing anyone could have ever said to me after I'm just, like, publicly, did this insane little, created this insane spectacle and made a complete fool of myself and threatened people and all this crazy fucking shit, destroyed my girlfriend's car. Just, you want to give things another chance with me? Like, yeah, I do. Like, well, I don't know how I can say no to that right now. And it's not that I don't have feelings for this ex and that it's not fun and all of that. It's just, it's an insane thing to do. It's really probably the least healthy, just craziest thing you could fucking do. But, I'm doing it. So I put all my shit in the van. I did my little tour. She met me in Pensacola. I have about everything I own that's important, and we are on our way back to New Orleans, and the van fucking breaks down just outside of Mobile, where it's, 165 fucking degrees, right at noon, we break down. And at this point, sometimes you get to this point in your life where so many things are going wrong, and at this point I've lost everything. Those of the people who know me, the house that I was living in, I had a studio there. I had, my whole business that I was running there. A lot of fucking art and a lot of parties and a lot of cool shit happened there. It was a great place that I really loved, connected to these woods and all this shit. So I'm like totally fucked anyways, emotionally. Just, I'm like, I've lost my girlfriend. My pet died recently. And now I've lost my house and my studio and all this fucking shit that I had built. So then the van breaks and I'm just like, I don't care. Whatever. They're just kind of like standing on the side of the road, just like laughing, and then like throw something, like I'd just like pick up a stick and whip it at the fucking tree or something, like, and then go back to just like, yeah, what does it matter? Who gives a shit? So this fucking guy who's driving by, pulls up and he tows us in his pickup truck with just like a chain. Just a regular chain. I don't know what it's for, but he just ties it to like the frame of our van, and he's like, all right, you get in, and I'm steering the van and braking, and he's towing us all the way down the highway to Mobile, and we end up giving it to this mechanic who can't fucking fix it. To this day, it's in a dealership. No one has called me. I haven't called them. I have no idea what's going on. It's been like 2.5 weeks, and I don't give a shit at all. I just don't care. Whenever they call me, I'll fucking figure it out, go to Mobile and get my van. But anyways, we ended up getting a friend to pick us up, take us to New Orleans with some of the essentials out of the van and whatever. And that's where I've been for the past few weeks, just sitting in a pretty much barren room, staring at the wall, listening to talk radio, and just convalescing, I would say. That's been about what happened. Then I had to get back up to Chicago for court, which for the destruction of property, for destruction of property on Tracy's car. So I had to take a fucking bus because, of course, I was just sitting down in New Orleans, just getting stoned, and I wasn't really drinking that much, but just sitting there getting stoned and fucking around and whatever, and kind of reconnecting with my ex-girlfriend, which is going pretty well. Little few hiccups and whatever, but it's like I said, I think I'm only attracted to just really fucking crazy ideas right now. So this is a pretty good one. And so that's been about it. Haven't left the house very much. Just fucking, doing that. And I'm sitting there, and I totally forgot that I had to be up here for court. Not forgot, but just more like didn't care. And it got to be about 2 days away. I'm like, holy fuck, how am I going to get up there? I don't have my van. I have like nothing. So, of course, I end up on the fucking Greyhound, 21 hours to Chicago, which is awesome. The worst fucking way to travel that you could ever imagine. It's terrible. And the worst, just shittiest, dumbass people around you all the time. Just this weird schedule where you drive for like 3 hours and then stop for like 45 minutes and walk around some shitty town waiting for another bus. It's just fucking awful. You have stops at like 2 a.m. when you're trying to sleep, and they're like, all right, everybody, we're in Effingham. If you want to get a bag of chips or a soda or use the yeah, like, I know what I can do at a fucking gas station, you piece of shit. Shut that fucking... Why are you on a loudspeaker stand up and fucking talk if you want, but you have to have this shit thing that comes on right by my head and wakes me up. Oh, the bus is a giant piece of shit. And everybody that works at the bus company is a fucking piece of shit. They're all the most condescending, rude, fucking petty. It's almost the same kind of people that tend to work for like cheap security firms and stuff like that. And you see, that are just, they all just can't wait to just say something shitty to anybody that has any sort of bit of confusion or fucking, and it's not easy to, by the way, I don't care what anyone says. They don't make it fucking clear what the hell's going on. They'll just announce that a bus number is leaving and the bus number isn't printed on the ticket. And so you like have to ask somebody, hey, what's number 388? Where you going, sir? What bus did they just call? Sir, where you going? Let me see your ticket. Like, okay, there you go. Oh no, you ain't even boarding yet. Like, all right, I know you know what bus 388 is. You could have just fucking told me, you fucking dick. Whatever, dude. It was a lot of fucking exchanges like that, but so we end up, by the way, spending all the rest of my money like getting hotels in Mobile before we get picked up and whatever. So now I'm like poor, riding buses, coming up here to go to court and figure all this shit back out, and then trying to get back down to New Orleans at some point. And then I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to keep the show going. We're going to get back to all our normal topics. The flat earth is good. I want to do a lot more on that. Eric Dubay, the guy who literally wrote the book on the flat earth and kind of caused the resurgence in the whole discussion over the past couple years. I think it's just called the Flat Earth Conspiracy. I don't know why I can never remember the fucking... I think that's it. But, and we reviewed his documentary, Adolf Hitler versus the Jew World Order, which was very entertaining. He listened to one of our episodes and commented thoroughly on it, responded to a bunch of the stuff we talked about. So that was kind of cool. Thanks for taking the time to do that, Eric Dubay, because I assume you're listening to all of them now, into them this far, when all I've talked about is my personal life. So I want to try to get him on the show. He said he really liked it. We will try to do something with him if he'll be up for it. The show will keep happening, I think is the old saying. And we are going to, we're going to get back to normal here. Oh, the other thing I would say is that there are some things that you learn in situations like this where you're totally, and you learn them over and over, but when you're totally distraught and you just don't even want to go on, when you do decide to go on, you have this period of, I don't know what I would do. I would say like you have this period where you're very receptive to other people and their experiences, and you're kind of searching for intellectually and emotionally a path through this nonsense that's just making you feel terrible. And so I think something about being in that state of mind gets to be really rewarding at times, and maybe when you're happier, you tend to be a little less receptive, I think, to a lot of the lessons that there are out there. So little things would happen, you know. I had as soon as I left Chicago, I was like an hour into the drive to my first show on tour, which was in Knoxville, which is way too long of a drive. That's the other thing. I'm just like depressed and it don't make sense. I just booked this tour that like makes, it just doesn't, it makes no logistical sense whatsoever. I just lost money, had like 3 days off in a row, just fucking around in just like Tallahassee, Florida at some shitty hotel, just watching prostitutes walk around and wondering. It was actually the first time in my life that I wondered, should I get a prostitute? Is this what I'm supposed to do as like a shitty entertainer on the road so I can have stories about that? But I just didn't want to. So I'm the van, about an hour into the drive to Knoxville, all of a sudden I lost my fucking turn signals, power windows, and the radio all at once. I'm like, well, that's about the 3 worst things you could fucking lose. I'm like, this must be a fucking fuse, right? So I didn't have any time to stop and fuck around with it. I'm running late for the show. So I have to drive like the next 8 hours to Knoxville or whatever in just sweltering heat. Oh, the other thing is the air conditioning doesn't work. That was a thing I already knew, but at least I had windows before. And I'm driving the whole way there just sweating. I actually stopped and got a bag of ice and was just putting it like on my lap for as long as I could stand and like hugging it. Fucking sweltering hot in this fucker, because the windows, of course, stopped working when they were fully up. So I did the show in Knoxville, which was great, by the way. Really cool. Great people in Knoxville that are always out at shows and are really receptive and cool and fucking buy merchandise and buy you drinks afterwards, and it happens every time there. It's awesome. So I get up the next day and go to AutoZone, and this lady is getting off of work, and she sees how much trouble I'm having with the van because we couldn't figure out what fuse it was, and I'm sitting there sweating, and it wasn't a fuse, nothing was working, and I'm just like totally fucking pissed off. And she's like, you know, what's the problem? And we start figuring it out and whatever. It ended up being this weird thing where we replaced the ignition switch, and she was off the clock and starts helping me out. And I had told her my story, you know, of why I was on the road and what the hell was going on in my life. And it's amazing what I was trying to get to before, just what you'll get out of just a normal person, just a stranger who you open up to a little bit and you tell them something like that. And we went on for 45 minutes about her life and different things she'd been through, and spirituality and fucking philosophy and all this different stuff. And she wasn't the brightest person I've ever met in my life, but she was nice, and she was nice to talk to at that point, and I learned a few things from her. And I gave her $20 for fixing my stuff, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And then I was good. And then I had windows and turn signals. Tried traveling out of state with fucking weed in your pocket with no turn signals. That'll make you nervous. So now I'm good, and I'm driving through the Smoky Mountains, getting stoned. Beautiful part of the country, you know. And I get to Charlotte and did the show there. That was cool. I got a hotel for cash. I didn't know that you could still do that. I was really worried about that. I'm driving around just calling all these places. They're like, no, you need a credit card. You need a credit card. Finally, I call this one place, and this Indian lady answers. And I wish I had Andrea here to do the Indian lady character, but I'm not even going to try to do the accent. I go, hey, I call, I go, hey, I need a room, but I don't have a credit card. And she goes, we don't accept credit cards. I'm like, huh? So I can get a room without a credit card? And she goes, no credit cards. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm coming there. And I go there, yeah, just pay for cash like it's 1973 and get the worst hotel room I've ever seen before. And again, yeah, watch some prostitutes, drink some fucking whiskey, hung out for a few days, and that's kind of how things were. It was very laid back and just trying to heal a little bit and get back on the right track. I don't know. So I guess I don't have too much else to say about the whole experience right now. I feel like I don't know if I really got to the heart of it. Do you guys get it? I'm really sad, and then I did a bunch of stuff, and now I'm kind of better, but not really. And I'm dating a crazy girl again, and yeah, we're like totally even saying that we're together. It's fucking insane. She's like introducing people to me as her boyfriend. We're like walking around town, like holding hands, giggling. Like, this is I don't know if this is real or what the fuck is going on. But I'm a relationship guy. I don't like to spend a lot of time single. I want to fucking have some kids at some point. I want to have a nice place to live. You know, I want to have some stability. And get the things I want out of life. So maybe that'll happen with her. We were together for 6 years when we were young. And yeah, we definitely had our share of fights where the cops were called too. I'm fucking crazy. I'm an insane piece of shit. Oh, by the way, I don't care if you're one of those people that thinks what I did is wrong and there's no excuse for it. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit. The way that she lied to me and humiliated me was beyond heartless, and I needed to destroy something. Okay? So that's the end of the story on that. It had to happen. It absolutely had to. We're gonna get back into all of our shit in a couple days. The regular schedule of the show is gonna be disrupted. I'm gonna be on the road a lot. And at some point I'll settle back down with a studio and we'll start doing this, twice a week and everything. But right now we're just going to be doing it whenever we can. I know sometime in the next 2 or 3 days we'll have another full show with Andrea and David Box and some of the usual characters. We'll probably have a pretty fun show the next time we come back on, because I know people are going to want to either make fun of me for fucking doing a 14-year-old girl suicide attempt, or I don't know, whatever. People are probably going to want to chime in on some stuff. So we'll be back in a few days. Thanks for listening. Good night.